My name is Skender Darity, and I co-founded the Clinician Exchange, or as I refer to it as TCX. TCX is a tech-enabled marketplace designed to provide clinical support services to the medtech and biopharma industries. We are seeking to raise $1.5 million to continue to build out our tech platform. I founded TCX 2.5 years ago after successfully taking a medtech company from 26 million to 100 million, primarily based on sheer hard work and resourcefulness. I say that because we had an investor, we had one owner who basically refused to reinvest in sales, despite the fact that that's what all the entire medtech industry was doing. So every resource we utilized had to be organically developed and funded out of cash flow. There was no time for waste and no opportunity for waste, which is funny because this is an industry that doesn't work. This is an industry that spends 40 cents of every dollar largely on sales-related activities. Okay, so it's slated towards the larger companies that have this money to spend and waste, which we didn't have. But we were reassured when we saw a McKinsey study that basically suggested that due to macro, political, and economic factors, that the model was unsustainable. But that wasn't the only thing that was creating unsustainability in the model. The other aspect of it was that due to changing buyer behaviors, and by buyers I mean hospital, due to changing behavioral patterns amongst them, medtech product life cycles were accelerating at a faster pace than ever before, which is shocking to an industry that needs 65% margins to survive because they're spending 40 cents of every dollar on sales. So now they were in a situation where they couldn't just change the color and say it's premium differentiated. Buyers were saying, prove it to me. Show me some evidence if you want that premium pricing. And that's not something that the industry is prepared to do. So McKinsey further went on to then say, oh. So McKinsey then further went on to say that they suggest a value-based selling model. One that moves away from the traditional sales rep heavy type of model to one that focuses less on sales reps who are pretty expensive assets, and one that focuses more on more nimble assets, more agile, more ability to customize your approach to your customers, which are the healthcare companies. Oh man, this is taking away my thunder. Sorry about that. So what we recognized after reading this study was that the top 1% of companies, the name brand companies, the Baxters, Medtronics, et cetera, they were all getting a jump start on this strategy. And they had already started to downsize the ranks of their sales reps and were increasing the number of their clinical staff to the point where previously it was 15-to-1 ratio sales rep to clinical. Now it's almost 2-to-1, if not 1-to-1 basis. However, we as a small company are never going to be given the resources or the ability to then find and add all these new resources to the organization. So what we had to do was we had to get ingenuitive, which is what we did best. And there was never a time that me or my partner could walk into a hospital and not be approached by a number of clinicians asking us if we had consulting opportunities. All the physicians, all the practicing people in here know that that's a wide phenomenon. So from our perspective, what we did is we got a little bit more creative and we started taking down those names. And when we took down those names, we realized that we soon were able to create a network. My goodness, sorry. Cycling faster than I thought it was going to be. It's faster than you, Jeffrey. So we realized quickly that if we could create a network and create a platform that gave these clinicians an opportunity to broadcast their desire to want to support and consult to all these medtech companies, we had something on hand. In addition to that, if we developed this platform that also allowed the medtech community to seamlessly connect with clinicians who wanted to do that, they no longer would have to utilize these fixed assets out there, and they could create absolutely more efficient and nimble assets. And that's the basis of the Clinician Exchange, which today is the medtech industry's hub for clinical education and expertise services. What we do is we provide these medtech companies with clinicians, multidisciplinary clinicians, of which we have 6,000 in our network now, all grown organically, to help support these medtech companies in the last mile of their sale. So primary use case actually is with Eric, one of your portfolio companies, Vestigen, in your hospital. At Northwell, we are doing, as we speak right now, we are doing an implementation at Northwell of their product. They have hired us to bring in clinicians to help support them rather than just utilize their sales rep. What that does is, and we've refined the model to the point, there we go, to the point where 7 out of 10 of our matches, our clinical matches, come from the local area to that market. In this case, for Northwell, 5 out of 5 of our clinicians were from the Long Island area, which you don't have to thank me, but it drove down the cost of your portfolio. You can thank me later.
Was this before or after we invested?
Was that?
Was this before or after we invested?
This is today, so I think you're fully invested now.
Good.
But I'm willing to take one of your checks too. So it's a variety of services that we provide. It's implementation, evaluation, all sorts of other services that they look to. And the competitive advantage is obviously sizable. Most companies still rely on sales reps to do everything. That's basically like utilizing your Range Rover to support your landscaping business. You just don't do it. It's an expensive asset. So in this case, compared to sales reps, we have a 55% cost differential. Compared to them hiring their own clinicians, it's an 18% cost differential. When you account for idle time, it goes up to almost 90% and 40%. We train them via an e-learning business. We've been in business for 2.5 years. Sorry about the highlights. And we've projected about $1.1 million in sales for 2018. That's based on 12,000 hours. And with that 12,000 hours, we've implemented $14 million of business for our clients into their customer hospitals. We're projecting post-funding to grow to $2 million with an opportunity to grow to 3x beyond that 2 years after that, and then up to $9 million within 3 years. This is a list of the companies that have already entrusted us. Vestigen is in addition to that. Let me just get to here. The $1.5 million is primarily going to be used to build out our tech platform to create a more seamless application. So in closing, we're a day before the Belmont Stakes. Everybody's looking to bet on winners. There's no better winner than this guy. A proven resourcefulness every time. So I may not be justified, but I can probably beat him in 5 rounds.